Our mighty Titan is back on the table, and what I need to do is make this thing roadworthy. You know, we need turn signals and or indicators. Our front tire keeps going flat and wobbles all over the place, so I need to replace that. We don't have any brakes. I mean, very little, just a little bit in the front. So all that needs to be done. I'm going to just ease into this project by starting with the back brakes. That should be simple enough. I only have one bolt in the exhaust pipe, so I'm just going to take them off and get them out of my way. Make it a little easier to work on. Although this thing wasn't roadworthy, I still have been riding it. Look here, you guys can tell by the chain slack. I had it nice and tight. Look at that. She's sloppy now. I forgot to take this nut off right here. It's got a pin and then a nut. I got the pin out. I better get the nut off so we can get this wheel off. There's a grease fitting right here on the swing arm. I'm going to pump some grease into it. Really should take it apart, clean it, but not today. We'll just fill her up with grease. I finally broke down and bought one of these cable luber things. We'll see how it works. Oh, this is really difficult to do with two hands. I need three. I'm hitting a button. It's spraying out of there. So, I guess it works good. All lubed up. The back brakes are all adjusted, ready to go, but I need to adjust the switch for the back tail light because it's not coming on when I hit the brake pedal. Well, apparently somebody has jumped this motorcycle off of a cliff somewhere because both wheels, if you'll remember, the back wheel had a big flat spot in it, and so does this one, this front one. I guess this is Evel Knievel's old bike or something. Look at this thing. So here we go again, back to the parts bike, and the front wheel is rustier than the one I have, but if it's straight, I'm going to clean it up and put it on the bike. So here's where I'm at. We're within 10 thousandths, so not terrible. I'd like to see it better, but it's just simply not going to happen with all this old stuff. I could take a whole lot of time making a very little bit of difference on this wheel to improve it some more and get a couple more thousandths out of it, but really it just needs a new wheel and spokes. After fumbling around with this thing and trying to true it up, our donor bike wheel has proved to be the better wheel out of the two, although it's much more rusty. I normally wouldn't clean aluminum like this. It's not my style to clean it with a wire wheel, but it's a quick way of doing it, and this wheel's so rough it really doesn't matter. Have my tire ready to go on the wheel here, and I just noticed something. Here is an arrow. I always point this out. You're supposed to put these on the right direction. Here's an arrow and it says front. You see that? So I thought the arrows always pointed front, or the direction that the tire rotated, because that's how it is on cars. And I was in fact correct, but if we look at the rear wheel here, you will notice it says, if it focuses, rear. But on motorcycle tires, the arrow still goes the same direction that the tire would normally be moving forward down the road, like so. The reason they put front on the front tire and rear on the rear tire is so that you put them in the right spot. Front tires have a different tread design than rear tires, a lot of them. Not all, but a lot of motorcycle tires nowadays, the tread, you cannot look at them and know if they go on the front or back or whatever, unless you're a tire expert, I guess. Baby powder helps it slip. These front shoes actually aren't as bad as I thought they were, but since I have new ones, I suppose I'll throw them on there. Old brakes have asbestos, so you don't want to breathe that. It causes cancer, so be careful of that kind of stuff, guys. Got a couple of rear indicators here from eBay. They're used, but they're original to this kind of bike, so that's cool. I'm going to throw those on real quick. There are the back indicators installed. They look pretty good. But the wiring's got to be cleaned up a little bit. Let's move on to the front now. And if they all happen to work, and I know they will, then we'll flash them and see what they look like. Check out these front ones, new old stock, and don't you know they cost a pretty penny. This is what happens when the government gives out stimulus checks. Key on, switch on, there we go. And that is the left turn front, left turn rear. We even have a little gauge light there, see, blinking. Now we'll try the other side. Right indicator on, right indicator on in the rear, and we even have, again, little gauge light flashing, so everything seems to be working good. Let's see what happens if I push the brake while the indicators are blinking. Hopefully the brake light comes on and everything works as it should. And now, oh, brake lights, indicators, we got it all. I had really good luck with these indicators. I didn't even have to change the bulbs out, except for the one on the gauge. I got to do a couple other things, so I thought I'd take this headlight bucket loose. Apparently the nut is not welded on the other side. I'm going to have to take this front off first. My gauges are needing some attention. Some of the lights work, some don't. This tape is on here for a reason. Let me take it off real quick and I'll show you why. So this lens here, this cover, look, it's loose. It actually will come off of there. I'm going to clean this all up, this glass real nice, or plexiglass. And I'm going to have to glue this part back onto the gauges. And all these lights and stuff need to be gone through and checked out. Some work, some don't. This is how I check the bulbs. I have an ohm meter here. One side goes here, one here. You hear that? That means it's completing the circle. It's making a loop. If this was a gauge type, it'd go bloop like that. So that's a good bulb. If it doesn't do this, obviously it's a bad bulb. Our tack has been repaired. I just used JB Weld on the back here to seal it up, you know, hold it together. And I'll just cut these off. I use zip ties to hold it tight because there's a rubber gasket there, so that kept it squeezed tight until she cured out. And look how nice and pretty our glass is now. Woo! All cleaned up. I pulled the cables out, and I'm going to use this bar and chain oil in this syringe. Bar and chain for like a chainsaw. And I'm forcing it down through this cable. It'll stick real good, and it will lubricate it for a long time, and the gauges should work smoothly. Time now to put the gauges back on. Gauges are back on. Let's turn the key on. There we go. And we'll test everything. Look at there, lights are on. They're lit up. And high beam. Nope, that's a left turn, look. That's working. Right turn, that's working. Let's see. High, that's popped on. Low beam, high beam. The only thing that's not working is the neutral light. And we're going to have to talk about that. I went to explore and see what was wrong with my neutral light. So I came down here. I knew that the wiring was good. I knew the bulb was good. And I noticed that the indicator right here was pointing 180 degrees out. It should be over here for that sensor. So you could say, well, you could just spin that sensor around, but that's not the way I don't think I should do it. I think there's something going on in my transmission. You guys know, if you follow my channel, that it's been kind of jumping out of gear between first and second. So look here, I've got her tore down, clutch is back out, this whole side's off. I just really need to do some investigation and get to the bottom of this because it's driving me nuts. Also, you may have noticed the forks are off because I'm putting new seals in those. That's it for this video. I'm wanting to do some research on this transmission and figure out what in the world is going on with it. I need to get that just fixed. Also, fork seals are on their way, so we'll be doing that next video. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Quick update. I took all this stuff apart other than just splitting the cases. Everything looked fine. Through my ignorance, I just didn't adjust the neutral switch right, but it is now. I'll show you guys. It's working. Can you see it? I'm just holding the camera up there for you. I'm sure you can see the green light.